Bedtime Stories for Kids. Rapunzel. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled near a dark forest, there lived a poor couple who longed for a child. For many years, they remained childless. But one spring, the woman discovered she was expecting. Their little cottage stood beside a walled garden that belonged to a mysterious enchantress named Mother Gothal. The garden was filled with strange, beautiful plants, herbs that glowed silver in moonlight, flowers that hummed softly when the wind passed. It was said that no one who entered that garden ever came out again. One evening, the pregnant woman stood by her window and looked over the stone wall. Her eyes fell upon a bed of lush green rampion leaves, also called Rapunzel, blooming in the moonlight. "Oh, I must have some," she whispered, her voice trembling. "If I do not eat it, I fear I will wither." Her husband, desperate to ease her cravings, climbed over the garden wall and stole a handful of Rapunzel. His heart pounded as he ran back. The woman devoured it eagerly. But the next day, her craving grew stronger. "Please," she begged him, "just once more." Against his better judgment, he returned. But this time, a shadow loomed. "Thief," hissed a voice. The man turned and found himself face to face with Mother Gothal. Her skin was pale, her eyes sharp as thorns. "How dare you steal from me?" she demanded. He fell to his knees. "Please, have mercy," he begged. "My wife is with child." She was desperate. Gothal's eyes narrowed, but then her lips curled into a slow, chilling smile. "Very well," she said. "You may take all the rampion you wish, but in exchange, when the child is born, she will be mine." The man gasped. "No, I swear it," Gothal snapped. And in his fear, he did. When the baby girl was born, she was radiant, with hair the color of sunlight and eyes like fresh spring skies. Her cries were soft as birdsong. The couple named her Rapunzel, after the plant that had started it all. But they barely had time to hold her. Mother Gothal came at dusk, cloaked in shadows, and took the child. "She will be safe," she said coldly, "and hidden forever." She vanished into the woods, the baby wrapped in her arms. And so, the girl grew up not in a home, but in a tower. A tall, lonely tower in the heart of the forest, without doors, and only one high window. The tower rose high above the forest trees, its smooth stone walls covered in ivy. There were no stairs, no door, only one narrow window at the very top. This was where Rapunzel lived. Mother Gothal had raised her in complete isolation. The girl never saw the ground, never touched grass or bark or stone. From the window, she watched birds fly and clouds drift by, her heart aching with a longing she didn't fully understand. Her golden hair had grown over the years, long, thick, and impossibly strong. It shimmered like sunlight and fell in a golden cascade all the way down the tower's wall. Gothal visited every day, always the same way. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she would call from the base of the tower. Rapunzel would lean out and lower her braid. Gothal would climb up, using her hair like a rope. The first time it happened, Rapunzel had cried out in pain. "It hurts," she sobbed. "Please." "Don't be foolish," Gothal snapped. "Your hair is your blessing, a gift, and you belong here, where you are safe." And so Rapunzel learned not to complain. She learned to sing, to read the same stories over and over again, to brush her hair 100 strokes each day. She talked to birds and made paint from crushed flowers and river stones brought by Gothal. She asked questions too. "Why can't I go outside?" "Because the world is cruel," Gothal would reply. "People lie, they would ruin someone like you. I protect you, I love you." Rapunzel nodded, but her heart ached. At night, she would sit by the window, gazing at the stars. "What is out there?" she whispered. "What does grass feel like? Or the wind on your face?" Sometimes she would sing, her voice soft and pure, drifting across the forest like a lullaby. And one day, someone heard her. Far beyond the woods, Prince Elias rode through the trees on a hunting journey. He was a thoughtful young man, not loud or boastful like many nobles. He often wandered beyond palace walls, seeking quiet places and honest voices. That afternoon, He paused near a clearing to water his horse, and heard singing, a voice so sweet and sorrowful it made the birds fall silent. He followed the sound, weaving through the trees until he saw the tower, tall, strange, almost magical. And the voice was coming from above. "Who lives up there?" he whispered. He saw no door, no ladder, just the vines, the smooth walls, and that distant, lonely window. He returned the next day, and the next, and again. Each day, the voice sang a new song. Each day, his curiosity grew stronger. Then one afternoon, he arrived just in time to see a woman in a dark cloak step into the clearing. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she called. Prince Elias ducked behind a tree. A thick rope of golden hair fell from the tower. The woman climbed up swiftly and disappeared through the window. His eyes widened. "Hair," he murmured. That was her hair. When the woman left, he waited. Then, with a deep breath, he stepped into the clearing. "Rapunzel," he called softly. "Rapunzel, let down your hair." For a moment, there was silence. Then, the braid dropped. His heart raced. Carefully, he climbed, gripping the thick golden rope until he reached the window. He pulled himself up and saw her. Rapunzel gasped, stepping back, eyes wide. Who are you?" she whispered. "I'm sorry," Elias said quickly. "I didn't mean to frighten you. I heard your voice, and I had to find it. I've never heard anything so beautiful." She blinked, her hands trembling. "You're not Mother Gothal." "No, I'm Elias, a traveler, a prince," he added sheepishly. "But not the fancy kind." Rapunzel stared at him. No one but Gothal had ever looked her in the eye before. And this stranger, his eyes were kind. He looked amazed, not at her hair, but at her. "You came all this way, just to hear me sing?" she asked. "Yes," he said simply. She smiled, and it was the first real smile she'd felt in years. Rapunzel and Prince Elias sat together by the window, the warm afternoon light spilling across the stone floor. For a moment, neither of them spoke. It felt sacred, like a silence that didn't need to be broken. "What's it like?" Rapunzel finally asked, her eyes full of quiet wonder. "The world out there?" Elias smiled. "It's wide, loud, messy, but beautiful. There are lakes that shine like glass, and meadows that smell of wild thyme. There are towns full of music, and skies where stars feel close enough to touch." Rapunzel sighed. "I've only ever seen stars through this window. Would you like to see them up close?" he asked gently. She turned to him, startled. "What do you mean?" "Come with me," Elias said. "Let me take you away from here, from this tower. You don't belong in a prison." Her face fell. "But Gothal says the world is dangerous, that people only hurt and lie." Elias looked at her, sadness in his voice. "Sometimes they do, but not always, and not everyone. The world can be harsh, but it also holds kindness, and freedom, and joy. You deserve to find out for yourself." She bit her lip, torn between fear and longing. "I've never even stepped on grass," she whispered. "I've never touched a tree." "Then let that be the first thing we change." Rapunzel glanced down at the forest far below. "How would I even get down?" Elias smiled and pulled a coil of rope from his satchel. "Next time I come, I'll bring this." They'll climb down together. Slowly, safely, I promise. Her heart raced. "You'll come back." "I swear it," he said. 3 days from now, when the moon is high." He gently took her hand, pressing it to his chest. "I'll help you find your freedom, Rapunzel, if you want it." She looked at him, her eyes wide. "I do," she whispered. "I really do." But they were not alone. Far below, hidden among the trees, Mother Gothal had been watching. She had grown suspicious of Rapunzel's happiness, the light that had returned to her eyes. She had followed Elias, seen him climb the tower, and her heart, twisted by obsession, turned cold with rage. "So," she hissed, "she's planning to leave me." She returned to the tower that night, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Rapunzel, my dear, let down your hair." Rapunzel obeyed. Gothal climbed up and entered, her expression unreadable. "You look flushed," she said. Have you been dreaming again? Rapunzel hesitated, just wondering about the stars. Gothal moved closer, her voice low and icy. The world is not kind, Rapunzel. It will eat girls like you alive. They will use you, steal from you. The moment you leave this tower, you will lose everything. Rapunzel swallowed. Her hand shook. What if? That's a risk I'm willing to take. Gothal's eyes narrowed. You're mine. I raised you. I kept you safe. You locked me away, Rapunzel said softly. The words hung in the air, like a thunderclap. Gothal said nothing. She turned sharply and stormed to the window. No more, she whispered. Before Rapunzel could react, Gothal spun and cut her hair. The golden braid fell to the floor with a whisper. You will not leave me, she hissed. Not for him, not for anyone. That night, Gothal took Rapunzel away to a far-off desert, hidden in a lonely valley, far from towers or kingdoms or stars. And in the tower, she waited in Rapunzel's place, with the golden braid tied to the hook by the window, waiting for Elias to return. 3 nights later, under the silver light of a full moon, Prince Elias returned to the tower with a rope slung over his shoulder and a heart full of hope. Rapunzel, he called softly, standing in the clearing. Let down your hair. Just as before, the long golden braid unfurled from the window. Smiling, Elias gripped it and began to climb, unaware of the trap that waited above. He reached the window and swung himself inside, only to come face to face with Mother Gothal. Looking for someone, she sneered. Elias froze. Where is she? What have you done with Rapunzel? She's gone, Gothal said coldly. Far from here, far from you. She shoved him backward, and before he could catch his balance, he slipped from the ledge. He fell. Through the night air, through silence, until, crash. He landed in the thorns below. His cries echoed through the forest. When he awoke, pain surged through his body. But worse than the pain was the darkness. The thorns had blinded him. He could no longer see the trees, the stars, or the tower. He lay alone in the forest, broken and weeping. Rapunzel, he whispered, I'm sorry. Time passed. Seasons turned. And still, Elias wandered, guided only by memory and the sound of the wind. He refused to return to the palace. His heart would not let him. He searched for her endlessly. If you can hear me, he whispered to the forest, I will find you. I promised. Far away, in a quiet valley where the sun rose slow and soft, Rapunzel lived alone. Gothal had vanished soon after they arrived, her obsession crumbling now that Rapunzel's magical hair was gone. With it, her youth faded, and the spell that had held her beauty for decades unraveled. One morning Gothal simply didn't return, and Rapunzel was free. But it didn't feel like freedom. She missed her tower. Not the prison, but the songs, the stars, the hope. She missed Elias, his laughter, his kindness, the way he looked at her like she was something more than a secret. Each day, she wandered the valley, her heart aching with a name she could not forget. Then one morning, as the breeze carried a familiar tune, she heard something, a voice, broken, hoarse, calling her name, Rapunzel. She turned, heart pounding. There, stumbling through the trees, was Elias. Elias, she gasped, running to him. How did you find me? I don't know, he said, reaching out blindly. But I knew I would. I never stopped looking. She took his face in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. You're hurt, your eyes. It doesn't matter, he said. I found you. That's all that matters. She drew him close, cradling his face, her tears falling onto his cheeks. And as one tear touched his skin, something shimmered. Soft golden light pulsing like a heartbeat. He blinked, then gasped. I can see, he whispered. Rapunzel, I can see you. She laughed through her tears, her arms wrapped around him. You kept your promise, she said. And you were my light, he replied. Together, they left the valley. Hand in hand, they walked through forests, across rivers, and into a world Rapunzel had only dreamed of. She felt grass beneath her feet, for the first time. She danced under stars, touched the sea, met people who did not want to keep her, only know her. And in time, Elias brought her home. The kingdom welcomed her with open arms, not as a prisoner escaped, but as a woman reborn. They were married beneath an arch of golden roses. Rapunzel wore no crown, only a simple braid, and a heart full of freedom. She became a queen of kindness and strength, a symbol of hope for all those who had ever been hidden or silenced. And though she never forgot the tower, she never feared it again. For now, she had the whole world, and the courage to live in it.